Hello, West Ham fans. Welcome back to Avio West Ham View. I'm Sam.
I'm Tom, and finally we're back.
We are back in business. Back in business. It's been about 6 weeks, for God's sake.
We've had the Christmas period off. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we've had Christmas off. We've been pretty consistent from the start of the new season right up until sort of the start of December. All the fixtures got in the way. An amazing opportunity come up for us, which we'll touch on in a moment. But we're here today to talk about the festive form, and we're going to start off with Palace on the 3rd of December, Tom.
Yes, I briefly remember it was about a month ago now. I mean, from my memory, we absolutely dominated the game, and we had that one sloppy mistake. I think we'll get further into the festive period soon, but I think it was one of Mavropanos' first start in the team, and he made a bit of a mistake, didn't he, for them to steal a point against us, really.
Yeah. I mean, the goal itself come from a nice ball from memory now. Went from a nice ball from Ward-Prowse over to Kufau. He slotted it back to the edge of the box, and there was Kudus sort of 15 minutes in, put the ball away. Now it's a month ago now, so we're going to try and fly through these fixtures. But obviously, as you say, Mavropanos, that boo-boo that he done, I mean, it didn't set the tone for a good festive period because he's going to be playing more games, weren't he?
Yeah, he was. I think with Aguero Aguero's been ill, but coincidentally, he's now back in the national team, absolutely fine. Aguero wasn't fit. Zuma's obviously had his issues, but then we kind of realised further down the line that Palace were then picking up results. They got a point against City, and they're a tidy side. I think looking at the longevity of the festive period, it turned out to be quite a strong result. I think no team really deserved the win. I couldn't say we outplayed them. It was one of them. Typical David Moyes kind of low block performances, and it could have gone either way. I think we could have had a few more chances, but it wasn't the most exciting watch. But I think what we're trying to see and what we're finding out is we're picking up results maybe when we're not playing at our best, especially like the other week as well with Brighton. So that was the first game, wasn't it?
Yeah, first game. It was a really dry game. I mean, 1-1 to at home. You don't want to be losing, obviously. So to just get the point, even though we played bad, it was what it was. And as you said, they picked up some good results around that period. So the week after was a big one. Big game.
Cup final, big game.
Thursday night, Spurs' cup final. And we, on the Wednesday, something big happened for Avio West Ham View and me and Tom. So firstly, just before we even talk about it, I want to shout out Jess Baker-Smith and Harry Upton-Morris, top people. We met them in Amsterdam during when we played Alkmaar away, and lovely people. They've been following our social media content since, and I believe we was on the list to be, an opportunity come up. They contacted us, and we were there on the Thursday night shooting a bit of a vlog, weren't it, for West Ham United official. Tom, in your words, what was it like when obviously they asked us?
Yeah, it's the dream come true. I mean, it's what we work towards, isn't it? Really, in a way, like you work towards big moments like that, and to have that opportunity against Tottenham away. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger for a West Ham fan to do that away from home. And I mean, we always love an away game anyway, so it was a win-win, wasn't it? And to see our faces on that main channel, I still look back at it now, like it's great, and hopefully we get more kind of opportunities further down the season or whenever. We're always grateful, and I mean, look at that, Sam and Tom deal, unscripted. I do think though, what if we did lose 5-0? Would it have made it?
I mean, I think it had got on there because obviously we had the Burnley game the week before, which ended 2-1.
Well, 2-1.
That was a good result, weren't it? But I think just for it to be a win as well, it's just unbelievable. I don't again. On the day when we was doing the roundup, and I've always said I'm not a vlogging fan personally. I say to anyone who does it, more power to you, that you're trying to do something to better yourself, and good on you. Personally, I'd never envisioned myself sort of vlogging, but actually it weren't really like that, was it? We kind of, in the stadium, you're capturing moments, right?
And that's what everyone does anyway. When you record on your phone, you then realise, oh wait, everyone else is taking pictures. Everyone else is, and it's not a problem. I mean, as you said, Sam, we do our bit up before and after the games on here, but it's a lot different. It is a different experience, wasn't it, for sure? But it was a really good one.
unbelievable day. I managed to catch the moment on video. I mean, if we're doing a TikTok or something, we'll jump it into the TikTok now, where Tommy Susek, I know it was James Ward-Prowse, sorry, shot edge of the box, Bowen had pushed pressured the keeper. He shot his come back, got the rebound. Unbelievable moment. Brilliant result. And that really, we thought, okay, this is going to set the tone for the festive period. We've just done Spurs away, right?
Just before that, we nicked against Burnley and all, didn't we?
Yeah. So that was before Palace, weren't it, as well?
Yeah, we had the Europa League game we won, so it was on a bit of form.
Yeah, we had a run of games. I think there was 6 games without defeat. Okay, Olympiacos, Burnley, Forest, we got away with those, as we've already spoken about on the channel. But beating Spurs away was amazing. We didn't play the best, especially in that first half. We deserved to be 1-0 down. But, I mean, that second half was just outrageous. Brilliant play all round. We changed our tactics up. We can talk about the game all day, but actually, let's talk about the next one, which was great, weren't it?
Do we want to talk about the next one? It's just typical West Ham. Like, you come out of that Tottenham game absolutely buzzing. You're like, we fancy Fulham now. If we just done Tottenham away from home, we just done Burnley away a few weeks before. Like, I fancy Craven Cottage, Fulham, but it just wasn't what we expected, was it, at all?
No. I mean, we watched it at home, and I can't even recall a time as a West Ham fan I've turned the telly off. I've never walked out of a game. I think I walked out of one game early at the London Stadium. It might have been when we got pumped by Arsenal. I don't turn it off. And after 4-0, it was off, mate. Because it was that bad. It was like they was going to score every time they went forward. And it was just embarrassing, wasn't it? Absolutely embarrassing.
Do you know what? It's just, I always believe it's just how your first 10 or 15 minutes are going. And like, if the players didn't look up for it, the players looked knackered from the Thursday or the Wednesday night. So it was just one of them games where, luckily we had 2 away games in short succession in London, actually, because it wasn't like we was travelling all over the country, but it didn't look that way. It looked like we travelled over to Man City and got pumped. So, it wasn't ideal, but I think from that period onwards, we were worried of how, we just said we was like, a good festive period is going to come, but then we get beat 5-0. We're like, okay, this could go really bad. We had a big game to come against Freiburg shortly after, and then that quarterfinal in the cup. So there was big games on top of Wolves that we were going to go into. It was a bit of a worrying moment, wasn't it?
It was, but it led into what can only be described as the best festive form
we've ever had
in the Premier League. And we've probably ever had. You're quite right. So obviously you've got the Europa League game. That was pretty comfortable. 2-0 at home.
Huge game though.
Yeah, really big game. Freiburg fans were brilliant, weren't they?
But I wasn't at the game, was I?
Oh no, you weren't. Oh shit. No, you missed that one. Why did you miss that one? Work
social.
Oh no.
That was good one. It was decent.
Yeah.
It was a pub crawl, and we watched the game pretty much in every pub, so I didn't miss a lot of it, and I was just kind of towards the back end of the game, forgetting more and more about it after a few more beers. But no, I mean, it's a good result.
It was a good result. Freiburg didn't offer much at all. The best part of them was their fans. A very easy game, but we scored the 2 goals in the first half, and that was that really. Then
Kudus again picking up goals again throughout this period. Let's not forget to mention, like, this festive period. I think Kudus has now been nominated for Player of the Month, so he's had an unbelievable month. And diving into the Wolves game, he just played even better, didn't he?
He did. So, like you said, he scored 2 in the first half. Well, he scored that 1 in the first half against Freiburg, and then the following week he scored a brace in 9 minutes. The first player in the Premier League so far in the season to score 2 in the first half. I don't know if that's been broken since, but he was just unplayable, and so was Paqueta as well that day.
Yeah, and Craig Dawson coming home, I think he's probably thinking, bloody, luckily this bloke weren't in training when I was there, because he'd have been torn. So many ACLs would have been torn. He got he got mugged off, didn't he? I mean, even Bowen had one where I think when Bowen scored, Dawson just got well off the pace, didn't he? I think he did us a favour, to be honest.
I don't know. I think maybe. I mean, look, that game had a big moment in it, and that was that disallowed goal. Sarabia, it was very tight, and I think had they actually been given that, I think we could have been looking at a completely different result, maybe 2, or they could have even gone on to win it, because they'd done it against Tottenham a few weeks before, hadn't they? But it didn't go in. And as soon as that didn't go in on the 60th minute, I thought, this is our day. This is our. We've had,
and there's been a lot of moments like that being our day, like the Arsenal game, the United game, like when things have been going our way the last few weeks.
They have. They really have. But it's funny because you look at the festive form, and there has been little bits in between, that have actually been a bit of a problem. I.e., the Fulham game, obviously the Palace game was a bit tricky, and then the Liverpool game during the week. I mean, that was so frustrating. 6,000 West Ham fans going up there. I had the opportunity to go, but I saw what was going to happen. I think we all did, didn't we?
Yeah, it's the lineup. It was a choice. It was a choice of team. I mean, look, we said before the Liverpool game, I'd rather beat Liverpool and lose to United. Or I know we at the time, obviously now United weren't in the best of form. We could have maybe played a slightly weaker side against United at home and still got a result. But when we was in Legends, weren't we? We was playing a bit of pool. We was at a pool bar, and I think by the third or fourth, we was just more focused on the pool because it just wasn't good. And then we had that kind of blip because then I think we had Bono, we had Mavropanos at the back, which was going to become a theme throughout the next few weeks. And I don't know about you, I was quite worried about it, actually. I was thinking, there's not a lot of experience here. There's not a lot of match experience together, let alone, obviously, one has been about for years, but he looked like he lost his legs. And that goal that Curtis through, I was very worried. But again,
on the night, sorry to interrupt him, on the night, on your point about Ogbono and Mavropanos, we were all saying, like them two, Oggy looked like he lost his legs in pre-season. Mavropanos had just made a few errors, as you were just saying. But the first half was pretty solid defensively. We only conceded, obviously, that one from long range from Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
The big problem was going forward. We had nothing going forward at two. And then you know what it's like at Liverpool. They get 1 or 2. They went 2-0 up sort of just 10 minutes into the second half. When it's 2-0 Liverpool away at Anfield, it's done.
Yeah.
It's over.
And on top of that, it's a cup game. We've got nothing to lose. Probably why we leaked it. A few more goals in the second half. If that was a league game, I could imagine Moyes would have tightened it up a bit more. He just thought, you know what, screw it. Let's try and get back into it. And it was an awful display. But we got to a quarterfinals of a cup, which was fair. Liverpool, I think, were going to win it. And there's still a lot of good moments. We've qualified the week before through to the knockout stages of the Europa League. We've obviously bounced back and then beat Man United 2-0. So these kind of blips have almost given us a second life, haven't they? To just pick back up our form and keep going again.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I'm looking back at the team now. Now that Ogbono and Mavropanos have played a few weeks in a row and they're actually playing well, I look at the team now and I don't actually think it was as weak as
we thought it was.
Because the only difference now between the team on the weekend, which obviously was a great performance, was Johnson at left back rather than Emerson.
Yeah.
Big player. Paqueta on the left instead of Benrahma. Well, the other way around. Benrahma was on the left instead of Paqueta. And then obviously JWP for the middle. So there's only really 3 changes. Well, there is. There's only 3
was in goal?
Ariola,
wasn't he? Yeah, he was, yeah.
Kufau was on, even though Johnson obviously played on the weekend. Was that against Arsenal? Johnson played
against Brighton Tuesday night.
Johnson played against Brighton, If you look at the team against Arsenal, which we won 2-0, it's the same team apart from Emerson, Paqueta, and James Ward-Prowse. Does that show how important those players are?
Yeah. I mean, personally, for me, Emerson's been hammer of the year for me. Ward-Prowse, what is it? All comps like 10+ assists. Paqueta's a different gravy. Then it's a spine, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of different players, and I think it gave Mavropanos and Ogbono that bit of an extra opportunity to get the experience together, and it probably gave them a kick up the arse. Like, we can't play like this every week, so they went into the next few games and they played unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was actually Zuma Mavropanos the following game at home. You're quite right. Them two then played together against Arsenal and Brighton. But yeah, so that happened against Liverpool. We was all a bit down in the dumps. But then to go on this to beat United and Arsenal either side of Christmas. I mean, we were obviously at the United game, and I mean, again, 2-0 is probably quite flattering. They had 65% of the ball. It was just a quick fire double, weren't it? I think 2 goals in 6 minutes, and Bowen and Kudus, and that was that, really, weren't it?
It was, yeah. I think Kudus and Bowen were just a different class. I think they had Johnny Evans was at the back with that young 18-year-old. I think that kind of had a big impact on the game. I think Varane was injured or he was ill the night before that, so that was huge for West Ham because that experience at the back when you've got a front three, a full left-footed front three, by the way, which I couldn't name another one in the league, let alone Europe, actually. No, it's quite a big point. But anyway, Johnny Evans had to step up. He had to really support the kid, and he got a yellow card of inside the first half, and it opened the game up for us moving into that second half. And it was just 2 quick fire goals, weren't it, really? And then we just kind of sat back. I think we brought 4 hours on late on just just to kind of kill time. And Ben Johnson, I'm just looking back here now. So look, it was a great performance, and I think again things did go our way. I think Areola would have made some great saves. Did he start? He did start. Areola would have made some good saves, but then they've got Onana in goal, and I don't know about you, but anything can happen when he's on the pitch. So, but it was a good result, nonetheless.
It was a good result. They had a lot of the ball. They didn't actually do much with the ball. They only had 3 shots on goal, 11 attempts, but 3 shots on goal.
Right. Okay.
I think he made a couple of good saves from memory, but they were really poor. They had no sort of firepower about it. Hoyland played, didn't do nothing. He then obviously scored his first goal the following week against Villa.
Usually typical West Ham, isn't it, really? Some bloke's not scored, it will come down to our players and score a few, but that's starting to change.
We were waiting for it, but that happened, and then we went off to Arsenal and done them away at the Emirates. I mean, we've done it before. We beat them 2-0 a few back. Well, must have been 2016. Reece Oxford made his debut. And
16, yeah.
16, I think, yeah. And look, 1-up after 13 minutes. That was a shock. And we didn't play like we did against Liverpool, put it that way. I mean, the first half, we looked more dangerous on the counter, didn't we, with Paqueta in the side as well.
Paqueta's, yeah. But then again, Paqueta played, well, he got injured in the warm-up. He came off after 30 minutes, but he created that big moment for the first goal. Where he kind of spun in the middle of the park, gave it out wide, and there's a few question marks as to whether the ball was out. Apparently, they've seen this futuristic beIN Sport technology, which has said the ball was actually in. Don't know. I'm not going to comment on it. It was probably out. But look, it's again, things just going our way. Nonetheless, Arsenal had their best team out. In fact, their front three at the time, I think still now, scored less goals than Bowen as a whole. But they had their best team out, and we've done a double over them. So there's no hiding away from the fact that it's just a massive result, and we deserved it. Mavropanos
then goes and scores a goal against his old club. And then Declan Rice gives away a penalty, who, by the way, had a pot. And I never said this in a West Ham top. And I think he's had 7 out of 10 performances for Arsenal every week. But he was poor. He really
didn't look comfortable, did he?
Didn't look comfortable. Looked very jittery. He looked very slow. And then he gave that penalty away, 96th minute. Emerson again, quality player. Why give it to Ben Rama? Give it to Bowen. Get his goals up. Get his confidence high.
Yeah, I think Ben Rama has the right to be a penalty taker after the Conference League campaign, though, the semi-final and the final. But Bowen missed that one at Anfield. I mean, it was a nothing penalty, really, weren't it? I think it was just more to keep him sweet, if I'm being honest.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree.
I know what you're saying. But for me, Ben Rama, the jury's out on Ben Rama, mate. Yes, he holds a place in the history of West Ham United. But when we do our video talking about January transfers, ins and out, mate, Ben Rama, for me, he's half the player he was when he was at Brentford in the Championship.
He's bulked out, isn't he? He's bulked out. But you're right. I like the fact you mentioned he does hold a place in history. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I'm quick to judge him, but then big moments in the Conference League campaign, he won't leave as someone that never made a good impact on the club. Like, if he does go in January, I think it's the best way to move on. But then we're going to Brighton, and Ben Rama and Fornals start on the wing, and you're just thinking, there's no end product, there's no pace. With Cornet on the bench, you're thinking, just get him on. Get him on.
Well, he did a bit of a deep Instagram post after the game, didn't he? I mean, talking about the game, Fornals and Ben Rama on the wing, it just, they had their heyday a few seasons ago when we finished in 7th place. They were contributing, but they just don't. As the league progresses, every year the Premier League gets better and better. Yeah. And those two...
They're physical enough.
They haven't. I feel like, when Kudus and Paqueta come in, I feel like for players like Ben Rama and Fornals, who definitely didn't get dropped straight away, by the way, Paqueta didn't start the minute we signed him. Kudus didn't start the minute we signed them. That's a fact. Yeah. These players kept their place, but that wasn't enough for for Ben Rama and Fornals to go, right, I'm going to put some better performances in here, and I'm going to, do more. They just seem to slump. They seem to think, oh, you've gone out and bought him.
That's it. Yeah, that should be. Yeah, you're right. You're spot on. But that's where I think they want to move in January, because there's no hunger. There's no fight left. They've been there for a few years, and let's not forget as well, Moyes never dropped Fornals until it got really bad. He kept him in the side, a bit like Souček when he wasn't the best of form. Just one thing to mention, I think Souček's been unbelievable, especially over the festive period, and he totally deserves that contract. Did have a big chance against Brighton though. But yeah, they battered Tottenham a few days before Brighton, so I think overall it was a good result. Last 3 games, you know, you beat United, you beat Arsenal, you draw to Brighton. I think, you know, you take that any day of the week. So
you take it. I mean, we obviously sat there at the Brighton game. I think we had a 0.6 XG. Not that I'm a big XG fan, but 30% possession. It was just, without that firepower on the wings. I mean, we only started looking threatening when Bowen went out on the wing and he brought on Mubama. And Mubama is a young lad and he runs around like a bit of a headless chicken. But then this is a double-edged sword. You look at people like Skamaka and you think, why aren't you running around? And then Mubama comes on and you think, you're running around in circles. What would you rather? You'd rather have someone who puts the effort in or someone who just walks around with a chip on his shoulder.
You're right, yeah.
You're going to rather have someone, and he'll learn that he needs to sometimes, you know, preserve his energy. There was one time when the ball was pumped up to him, he won a good header, and I just want to see him. I like that he got the nod in the game over Ings.
Definitely, yeah. Another factor, I think Ings is also potentially off in Jan, and it's nice that Moyes recognises that we need to give Mubama a new contract, and that, you know, that comes by opportunities, and he's getting them. Definitely, he's getting a bit more of them. He had 25 minutes, didn't he? So
he did. Yeah, he had 25 minutes. Look, and he had it against Burnley. He's starting to get chances. How many 19-year-olds in the Premier League at the moment are getting the nod? Not many, but he's had 20-odd minutes. He had 20 minutes against Freiburg. He had 5 minutes against Wolves. Obviously, he didn't come on against Liverpool, which is a weird one. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, that was strange.
And look,
for a young kid to come on though when you're being battered 5-1, probably quite a good man management. So
yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, look, we've got Bristol this weekend. We'll talk about that in our next video, and then obviously you've got Sheffield United, Bournemouth United away. I think he'll feature in those games. I think he'll
definitely
play. But look,
before we end the video, just to kind of, you know, again, just wrap up what we've been talking about. Top of the Festive League period in terms of form. Wolves been under the radar, even though we battered them 3-0. It's just like, it's great to see. It's a great performance. You know, you look at Arsenal and Man United. We played them. Look at Brighton. We played them. So we were picking up the right results. And let's just hope that, you know, the new year brings more of the same.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, mate. Don't want to get too much into the whole Moyes thing, but I mean, look, results speak volumes. The actual league table, we sit 6th position. So I don't really. Look, let's say that for another video, eh? Let's say
100%, yeah, definitely, yeah. All you Moyes outers just tune into the next one. So
that's it. We'll see you there. Thank you for watching, guys. It's very good to be back, and I will just drop in there again. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn those notifications on. We're hoping to do more and more content. It's the new year. We're back in the swing of things. And fingers crossed, West Ham's form can continue. We can, you know, we've got a 3-point gap between us and Brighton and United now. We've got Sheffield United. We're confident. So thank you very much for watching.
Sweet. Come on, you ones.
In the next video.